Good afternoon, everyone. And following President Fiordaliso's footsteps, we will start these meetings on time. Before we begin today's meeting, I would like to acknowledge the Lieutenant Governor has joined us, and she'll be making some remarks about President Fiordaliso. But before we begin, if we could just please take a moment of silence in his honor. Thank you. Now let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, will you read the public notice statement, please?
Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been posted at the board's office and website and emailed to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
And roll call?
Commissioner Holden. Here. Commissioner Fiordaliso.
Here.
Commissioner Abdul.
Here.
President Fiordaliso.
Here. And our next meeting?
The next regular board meeting will be held on Wednesday, September 27, 2023. It will be a hybrid meeting in person at the board hearing room at 44 South Clinton Avenue in Trenton and live stream via YouTube.
Thank you. So as I said, Lieutenant Governor Wei has joined us to make some opening remarks. The Lieutenant Governor had served with President Fiordaliso from the very beginning of Governor Murphy's administration. I had the pleasure of working with then Secretary Wei when I was in the governor's office, and we're so honored to have her join us and very grateful. LG, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. On behalf of Governor Murphy and this administration, I want to extend our heartfelt condolences to you, the commissioners of the Bureau of Public Utilities, and to all at BPU for the loss of our friend, colleague, and leader, Joe Fiordaliso. Joe was indeed an extraordinary public servant and a wonderful person. New Jersey is a better place because of his leadership, and he is missed, not just here in Trenton, but across our state. I came to first admire Joe years ago during his service as a BPU commissioner while I served on the Highlands Commission. I appreciated his thoughtful approach to this work and his devotion to responsible environmental stewardship. That admiration only grew when we became colleagues in this administration. I always enjoyed catching up with him, hearing about the challenges and triumphs at the BPU. And every time we saw each other, he would give me that big Joe Fiordaliso smile, which I know everyone knows. And he would simply just ask me about my work at DOS because Joe cared about the future, not just about having a healthy environment for current and future generations. He wanted to ensure we had a healthy democracy. And when Governor Murphy asked me to step into this new role, it was with the understanding that we would both spend the rest of this term honoring our late friend and colleague, Sheila Oliver, by looking to her legacy for inspiration and guidance and finishing the work that she devoted her life to. Now, I know that each of you here is similarly devoted to honoring Joe's legacy by continuing the good work that was the hallmark of his public service. So, when in doubt, let us all ask ourselves, what would Joe do? It is in that spirit that I want to congratulate Christine as she steps into her new role It was indeed a pleasure getting to know you during your time as our cabinet secretary, and I look forward to working with you now as a cabinet colleague. I'm certain that Joe would be proud of you and honored that you will build upon what he accomplished here. Finally, I want to thank each of you and all of the staff at BPU for your service to the great people of New Jersey. I know Joe would want me to tell you to simply keeping up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. That was so heartfelt, and I'm really looking forward to our partnership going forward to support Governor Murphy's goals. Okay, on to the business of the board. We will go into executive session momentarily, and then we will open up the floor when we return to my colleagues for to share their own words about Joe. Today we are going into executive session to discuss the following items: Clean Energy 8A, 8B, and 8C. The board will take action on these items during the regular session, and I think the executive session will last approximately 20 minutes. Will the Attorney General's office please explain the justification?
Good afternoon. Clean energy items 8A, 8B, and 8C fall within the contract negotiation and attorney-client privilege exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act. These exceptions are found in New Jersey Statute 10:4-12B7.
Thank you so much. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. Before we go into the agenda, the regular session, just want to say a few words and then open up the floor to my colleagues. I'm not going to say a lot because many of you heard me last week, but I also don't want to cry and then have to chair this meeting. I really want to share with everyone how thrilled Joe was to be working with this board. We spent a lot of time together leading up to my and Marion's nominations. And we were so excited about the opportunity to be working together again. I can remember sitting at Starbucks and, seeing that big smile and talking about what a great board it was going to be. I'm so sad that we didn't have nearly as much time serving together as we wanted, but I know that Joe really enjoyed these last few months tremendously with this board, and I'm so grateful to have had that time with him and my colleagues. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that now this is the start of Climate Week. I think everyone here knows that the central motivation behind Joe's work as BPU president was his commitment to action on climate change by achieving Governor Murphy's clean energy goals. So I just wanted to acknowledge that in his honor. And we will be doing some more things for Climate Week during the rest of the week. And I will now open it up to my fellow commissioners. Commissioner Holden, do you want to speak and start us off?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's hard to elaborate further from all the wonderful things that have been said about Joe. I know I've lost it personally. I've lost a very good friend in President Fiordaliso, and it's been a very, very tough couple of weeks. But we're going to keep that spirit going, and the love for everybody on the board and everyone has pitched in this year. And through the pandemic too, I keep bringing that up. It's an amazing agency, and Joe has been a terrific leader. And I know, Christine, you've learned a lot from him, and you're going to carry on in that tradition. We just want to add one other very sad note. This has been very tough for the utilities community this past week. We also lost Howard Woods, who was a acknowledged water and wastewater expert engineer, a long career with American Water, and mostly recently you would have read his testimony as an expert witness, particularly with great counsel. And I'm certainly going to miss him. I enjoyed just this spring. I was teaching with him at the University of Missouri, and it's very, very sad time for us all. I just want to get beyond September if we can and see if we can build for the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner.
My friends, today is a day that none of us ever dared really imagine. Not because we thought we could avoid the mystery of life or defy God's will, but because we refused to consider what our lives, the spirit of this agency, and the future of New Jersey would look like without Joe Fiordaliso. For his entire life, and for 20 years here at the board, we were graced with a visionary leader and public servant. A public servant in the truest sense of the word, who combined a relentless pursuit of the common good with a steadfast belief in the inherent goodness of the common man. Combine those unique characteristics with humility, technical expertise, moral integrity, charming humor, and an infectious optimism, and you begin to get a sense of what Papa Joe brought to everyone he met, cared for, and elevated. He made us better, each one of us, better people. We've heard countless stories from so many who confirmed our individual belief that he was truly a unique soul who made our lives more meaningful, not just by leading us, but by inspiring us and following his vivid example. And in doing so, each of us became better. kinder, and more confident. I can't tell you how many times he assured me that my utter confusion with the material that I was presented with was perfectly normal, and that he was still learning even after 18 years. And I think that's what continued to motivate him, learning and inspiring future generations. It's hard to know what the future will look like, but I can guarantee that we will follow the path that President Fiordaliso charted for us. And as long as we can maintain our unity of purpose and dedicate ourselves to a better tomorrow, we will reach the noble goals that tomorrow desperately needs. And tomorrow will come. What it looks like is up to us, each one of us, all stakeholders, staff, utilities, developers, consumers, citizens from every corner of New Jersey. Everyone bears responsibility to fulfill the mission to reverse climate change and to preserve our home for future generations. What work could be more meaningful than that? What career could be more significant than yours? For countless board meetings in this boardroom at this dais, we all heard President Fiordaliso's voice. I can hear it now. And his prophetic realization that although he may not see the fruits of our labors, the work would go on. We mourn his loss as we acknowledge the harsh reality he foreshadowed. And if I could, I'd like to add a pretty bold foreshadow of my own. Although, Mr. President, you may not be here to see your vision fulfilled, we will see to it on your behalf. That's a pledge we must commit to for our legacy, our grandchildren, and the future of every member of society. May his memory be eternal, and may the future of this agency to which he dedicated his life continue to be inspired by the example he so effortlessly, gracefully, and generously shared with us. Madam President, you have our support and our encouragement as we forge our way down a very difficult path. Together, we will reach the most noble, virtuous, and essential of destinations and make our future worthy of our past. And if I could say just one last word, which will ring true because it's something that the President would say all the time. He's calling us. He's saying, pay attention, Nancy. As he would say, please stay safe, take care of yourself, and take care of one another. Thank you.
Thank you.
As the newest, or one of the newer commissioners here on the board, it's difficult to sit up here today with a palpable void in the room. President Fiordaliso was an esteemed colleague, and my short tenure here at the board, he quickly became a cherished friend. Anytime I met with him, I was greeted with his welcoming smile and his affable personality. He was encouraging and genuine, and always willing to share his experiences, jokes, ideas, and stories. He treated everyone with kindness and respect, and when he referred to the BPU as family, he meant it. We often say that actions speak louder than words, and President Fiordaliso's actions spoke volumes and were a testament to his character. I am fortunate to have had the opportunity to work beside him for this brief period. He will be missed, but the lessons he taught by his actions will live on through his family here at the BPU. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know Bob Brabston, our executive director, is going to say a few words as well.
Thank you, Madam President. And just very briefly, on behalf of staff and for me personally, I want to thank you all for the compassion and kindness that you've shown all of us during this time. And I want to thank you all for the ongoing support and commitment to all of staff whose work touches the lives of everyone in New Jersey every day. So thank you for that. And Madam President, thank you for the grace and strength that you've shown during this time. And how much of it you've shared with all of us. We're all very confident that we're in good hands under your leadership. And thank you.
Thank you. Okay. First up, Madam Secretary.
Yes. On the consent agenda items 1A, 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, and 6A.
So moved?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gulsadovi.
Yes.
On consent agenda items 8A, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
I'm recusing myself on this matter.
President Gulsadovi.
Yes.
On consent agenda items 9A, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Abstain?
President Gulsadovi.
Also abstain. Thank you, Madam Secretary. We will now proceed with the regular agenda. Please note that we will be deferring telecommunications item 4A to a future agenda. There are no items for consideration under audits, which means we are starting with energy. Ian, will you please have a seat to present items 2A and 2B?
Good afternoon, Madam President, Commissioners. So, item 2A relates to comments staff filed with fellow commissions jointly to the United States Department of Energy. On May 9th, 2023, the United States Department of Energy released a notice of intent and request for information proposing and seeking comment on an applicant-driven, route-specific approach to designating National Interest Electric Transmission Corridors, or NETCs. Such NETC designations give the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission backstop transmission siting authority and can unlock low-cost DOE financing for transmission projects in the NETC. On July 31st, 2023, staff of the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, on behalf of the board, jointly filed comments to the North Carolina Utilities Commission, Virginia State Corporation Commission, and the Michigan Public Service Commission on the RFI. The joint comments broadly argued for a strong state role in the NETC designation process and recommended ways DOE could maximize the chances its NETC authority only advances cost-effective and well-planned transmission projects that serve the public interest. The sections of the joint comments that staff wrote also advocated for a NETC designation process that incorporated features that would particularly benefit states like New Jersey. Specifically, staff argued for refinements to DOE's proposal that would align the NETC process with the competitive transmission solicitation approach favored by the board in the transmission planning processes of regional transmission organizations like PJM Interconnection. To that end, staff recommended that state regulators should be able to submit need-based NETC designations that could attach to any competitively selected transmission project that serve a state-identified transmission need. Staff also recommended that DOE prioritize NETC designations and financial support for interregional transmission projects supported by states. Staff believes that implementation of these recommendations would increase the chances that transmission projects needed to support New Jersey public policy goals will qualify for low-cost federal financing, thereby reducing electricity costs for New Jersey ratepayers. Staff recommends that the board ratify the joint comments filed with DOE on July 31st, 2023.
So moved?
Second.
Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gulsadovi.
Yes. Ian, you're sticking with us, right?
Yes, I am. So
Okay.
2B is, now these are third comments, also joint comments, but only in front of the commission. So, on April 19th, 2023, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission announced that it would hold a forum on the current state of the PJM interconnection capacity market. FERC held the forum at its offices in Washington, D.C. on June 15th, 2023. Commissioner Crystal DeLu, representing the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, on one of the panels, and several members of board staff also attended. On June 30th, 2023, FERC released a notice requesting written comments on the topics discussed at the forum and set a comment deadline of August 14th, 2023. The form was partly a response to PGM's Resource Retirements, Replacements, and Risks Report, also known as the 4R Report, released on February 24, 2023. The 4R Report claimed that generator retirements driven by economics and public policy could significantly exceed new entry through 2030, leading to dangerously low capacity reserve margins that would threaten reliability. Indeed, several parties of the forum uncritically cited the 4R Report's conclusions, with some implying that it justified FERC overriding state policy choices. However, these conclusions were driven by the highly unrealistic assumption that future capacity prices will remain low, even if PGM was short on capacity. Thus, staff believes that the 4R Report materially overestimated generator retirement risks. Staff believed it was crucial for state regulatory commissions to highlight the 4R Report's flaws to FERC, as well as focus FERC's attention on the reliability problems facing the PGM region that Winter Storm Elliott revealed. Therefore, staff reached out to and jointly drafted comments of the Illinois Commerce Commission staff explaining the methodological problems of the 4R Report and why it did not justify interfering with state policy, providing out-of-market support to traditional generators. The joint comments also explain the reliability issues that Winter Storm Elliott exposed and potential changes to the PGM capacity market and PGM operations that could address them. Finally, the joint comments discussed why PGM should maintain a fee-forward structure rather than move to a prompt auction model, as advocated by FERC Commissioner Clements at the forum. Staff recommends that the board ratify the joint comments filed with FERC on August 14, 2023.
Thank
So
you.
moved?
Second.
Thanks. Any questions, comments? Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLune,
Yes?
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
and President Vucedovi.
Yes, thank you. We have Malky joining us next for items 2C, D, and E.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
On June 1, 2023, South Jersey Gas Company filed a petition with the board seeking approval to decrease the level of its periodic basic gas supply service charge, modify its balancing service clause charges, and conservation incentive program rates for the period October 1, 2023 through September 30, 2024. Following initial review and discussions, the parties determined that while additional time is needed to complete a full review of the petition, it is reasonable and in the public's interest for South Jersey to implement provisional rates. The parties executed a stipulation of settlement for provisional BGSS, BSC, and SIP rates, subject to refund with interest. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential heating customer using 100 therms per month would see a net monthly decrease of approximately $13.49. Staff recommends that the board issue an order adopting the stipulation. Staff further recommends that the board directs South Jersey to file tariffs consistent with its order by September 30, 2023.
May I have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Any questions, comments? Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLune,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
and President Vucedovi.
Yes.
Item 2D. On June 1, 2023, New Jersey Natural Gas Company filed a petition with the board requesting authority to modify its periodic basic gas supply service rate, its balancing charge rate, and conservation incentive program rates effective October 1, 2023. Following initial review, the parties determined that while additional time is needed to complete a full review of the company's petition, it is reasonable and in the public's interest for New Jersey Natural to implement provisional rates. The parties have executed a stipulation of settlement which would allow New Jersey Natural to modify its BGSS RSG rate, its balancing charge rate, and its conservation incentive program rates on a provisional basis, subject to refund, effective October 1, 2023. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential heating customer using 100 therms per month will see a net monthly decrease of approximately $4.16. Staff recommends that the board issue an order adopting the stipulation. Staff further recommends that the board direct New Jersey Natural to file tariffs consistent with the order by September 30th, 2023.
Motion, please.
So moved?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Madam Secretary, roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLune,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gul-Sidoti.
Yes.
Item 2E. On June 1, 2023, South Jersey Gas Company filed a petition with the board seeking approval to revise its Rider H rate and to withdraw Rider H from its tariff. Following review and discussions, the parties executed a stipulation of settlement recommending the company revise the Rider H rate and remove it from its tariff with the provision that recovery of any actual or over-refunded amounts, if any, will be addressed in the company's next base rate case. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential heating customer using 100 therms in a winter month will experience a monthly increase of $1.88. Staff recommends that the board issue an order approving the stipulation. Staff further recommends that the board direct South Jersey Gas to file tariffs consistent with its order by October 1, 2023.
Can I do a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Questions? Comments? Malky, just confirming that that is a decrease, there is a net decrease on South Jersey?
No, that's
No, on the both items together. Yes, same for Mike. Yes, thank you. Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLune,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gul-Sidoti.
Yes. Thank you, Malky.
you.
All right, we have cable TV coming up next.
Appropriately said.
That's right.
After this commercial coming up.
Wanda.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Item 3A involves a request for approval to relocate a customer service office filed by Altice. On February 17th, 2023, Altice submitted a verified petition to the board pursuant to NJAC 14:18-5.1C, requesting approval to relocate its existing customer service office located in the city of Harlan, New Jersey, within the borough of Sayreville, to the township of Old Bridge. Altice is the current holder of a municipal consent-based certificate of approval issued by the board on August 22nd, 2007, and is duly authorized to provide cable TV service in Sayreville. The municipal consent ordinance approved by the borough requires that Altice maintain a local business office in Sayreville for the purpose of receiving customer payments, receiving customer complaints, and return or exchange of equipment. Pursuant to the board's rules, when an office is expressly required pursuant to a municipal consent ordinance and a board order to be located within the municipality, such as in this instance, Altice is required to seek board approval to relocate the office. And it must demonstrate that the proposed relocation is not unreasonable and will not unduly prejudice the public interest. Altice asserted in its petition that it meets these requirements as the new office will be located less than 2 miles from the existing office and will provide increased customer benefit, such as extended hours, free parking, and a more convenient location based in a well-traversed shopping area. As required under the board's rules, Altice provided notice of the proposed relocation to the clerks of each affected municipality, and notice was posted on the front door of the existing office, which informed area customers of the relocation petition and their right to submit any comments or objections on the petition to the board within a 30-day comment period. The notice was also published in the Star Ledger and the Home News Tribune, newspapers of general circulation in the area. On July 27, 2023, Altice filed a letter with the board seeking a limited waiver of the newspaper publication requirement in the board's rules to address an error by the publisher of the Home News Tribune, which resulted in a 5-day delay in the publication of the notice. No comments were received from the public, and on July 18, 2023, the Borough of Sayreville filed a letter with the board confirming that they did not have an objection to the relocation. On August 15, 2023, the Division of Break Counsel also filed comments indicating that they had no objection as well. Upon review of the filings in this matter, staff believes Altice has adequately demonstrated that the proposed relocation is not unreasonable due to the close proximity of the new office to the prior location, as well as the added customer benefits, and that it will not unduly prejudice the public interest. Staff therefore recommends approval of Altice's petition on the proposed relocation, as well as Altice's request for a limited waiver of the newspaper publication requirement.
Thank you, Luanda. Can I have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delune,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gul-Sadovi.
Yes. Luanda, you're still with us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Item 3B. On or about March 12, 2022, Comcast filed an application with the Township of Powhatan for an initial municipal consent to provide service to the township. On February 21st, 2023, the township adopted an ordinance granting municipal consent to Comcast. On March 16th, 2023, Comcast formally accepted the terms and conditions of the ordinance, and on April 26, 2023, Comcast filed with the board for a certificate of approval for the township. Approval of the petition would allow Comcast to expand its service territory into the township to provide cable TV service as an overbuild to the incumbent operator, Service Electric Cable TV of Hunterdon, and will establish Comcast as a second cable operator in the township, thereby offering competitive choice in the township that is sought by many residents throughout the state. Approval will provide an alternative operator, and having completed its review of the ordinance, the application, and supporting documentation, staff recommends approval of the proposed certificate of approval for a 10-year term to expire on September 25th, 2033. The franchise will also include reporting requirements detailing the status of the construction of the new system to be submitted to board staff.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Questions, comments? Madam Secretary?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden, Commissioner Crystal Delune,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gul-Sadovi.
Yes. Luanda, still with us.
Yes. Item 3C. On February 17th, 2023, pursuant to NJSA 48:25.1 and NJAC 14:18-14.13, Comcast filed notice with the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities and the City of Perth Amboy, advising that it would convert its municipal consent-based franchise serving the city to a system-wide franchise. Under NJSA 48:5A-25.1, the cable television operator with a municipal consent-based franchise issued prior to the effective date of the Cable Television Act codified at NJSA 48:5A-1 may automatically convert any or all of its municipal franchises upon notice to the board and to the affected municipality without the need for approval of either entity. Pursuant to the board's rules, Comcast is deemed to have been granted a system-wide franchise for the service territory of Perth Amboy upon the board's receipt of the February 17th notice. While board approval is not required, pursuant to NJAC 14:18-14.13E, the board must issue an order memorializing the conversion of the franchise, which specifies the following: the municipalities included in the system-wide franchise, the term length, the amount of the performance bonds and types of and amounts of insurance, and the system-wide franchise commitments required pursuant to NJSA 48:5A-28H through N. Specifically, those requirements are imposed upon all cable television companies operating under a system-wide franchise and include commitments as to line extensions, public educational and governmental or PEG access channels, interconnection with other cable television companies, free cable and internet service to public schools and municipal buildings, training and equipment for access users, PEG access return feeds, and compliance with customer protection regulations. Comcast has committed to abide by these regulations as well as maintain its current insurance and performance bond amounts and adhere to requirements for a local office and the designation of the Office of Cable TV and Telecommunications as the complaint officer under the franchise. Comcast's certificate of approval and the underlying municipal consent ordinance from the City of Perth Amboy was renewed by the board on September 28, 2022, for a term of 10 years to expire on August 1, 2031. Because Comcast has now converted the municipal consent-based franchise to a system-wide franchise, the terms of the certificate of approval are deemed expired and are replaced by the terms prescribed by NJSA 48:5A-28H through N and the applicable law pursuant to the board's rules and regulations. Staff recommends that the board issue the order memorializing the conversion of the municipal consent-based franchise for the City of Perth Amboy to a system-wide franchise for a 7-year term to expire on February 17th, 2030.
Thank you, LaWanda. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved?
Second.
Questions or comments? Madam Secretary?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gulsadovi.
Yes. Thank you, LaWanda.
Thank you.
We're going to 5 with water, and we have Ben Witherell to present.
Good afternoon, Madam President and Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
This item is the joint petition of Montague Water Company, Montague Sewer Company, Corix US, and Southwest Merger Acquisition Corporation, seeking approval of a change of control through a merger of Corix and Southwest. As Corix US is the current parent company of the Montague companies, the merger of Corix and Southwest represents an indirect change in control of the Montague companies. The Montague companies are regulated New Jersey public utilities that treat and distribute water to approximately 780 customers in Montague Township in Sussex County, and collect, treat, and dispose of sewage for about 270 sewer customers. The joint petitioners, staff, and rate council reached a stipulated settlement in principle on July 27th and finalized the settlement agreement on September 7th. The following major elements are included in the stipulation of settlement. The transaction will not impact rates or service for existing customers of Montague Water and Montague Sewer, as the joint petitioners have agreed to no increases in base rates before at least January 1st of 2026. The change in control of these small water and sewage companies will not impact competition in New Jersey, as the new merged company is not gaining or losing any New Jersey customers or service territory. The joint petitioners have committed to maintaining the current level of full-time operations employees and administrative support positions, and the merger will ensure that the Montague companies will continue to have access to capital needed to support investments in the systems and facilities that they operate. In addition, the Montague companies will support the community through an annual contribution of $3,000 for 5 years to the Montague Volunteer Fire Department that serves an area that includes Montague's customers. Staff recommends approval of the transaction under the terms reflected in the stipulation of settlement. Staff believes that the stipulation is responsive to all applicable statutes and regulations and protects customers and employees while maintaining current rates, capital investment opportunities, staffing, and service levels.
Thanks, Ben. Can I have a motion?
So moved?
Second?
Thank you. Any questions? Madam Secretary?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
There we go.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gould-Sagobi.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Ben. And we have Frank Gaffney for reliability and security.
Good afternoon, President, Commissioners.
Good afternoon, Frank.
Item 6A concerns an offer of compromise and settlement between the Board's Division of Reliability and Security, Bureau of One Call, and Veolia Water Contract Operations USA Incorporated to resolve alleged violations of the New Jersey One Call Damage Prevention System. On the morning of February 27, 2023, J. Fletcher Kramer and Sons, an excavator working for PSE&G, ruptured an unmarked 16-inch water main located at the intersection of Newark Street and Madison Street in Hoboken, New Jersey. As a result of the damage, thousands of customers lost water service or experienced reduced water pressure, triggering a boil water advisory and a state of emergency for the city of Hoboken. The emergency continued for approximately 2.5 days until repairs were completed on March 1st, 2023. The Board's Bureau of One Call conducted an investigation of the incident and determined that Veolia Water Contract Operations USA, a non-utility entity under contract with the City of Hoboken to operate and maintain the city's water infrastructure, committed a series of one-call related violations between the time of the initial markout request on January 7, 2023, and continuing after the damage occurred on February 27, 2023. In determining the appropriate penalty amount to be assessed, the Board is required to consider a number of penalty assessment factors, including but not limited to the nature, circumstances, and gravity of the violation. In this matter, given the nature and circumstances of the incident, which caused a major disruption to the City of Hoboken, staff determined that Veolia Water Contract Operations should be assessed the maximum penalty for a non-gas related incident. On June 1, 2023, staff issued a notice of probable violation and offer of settlement, providing for a one-time payment of $80,000 for a continued daily violation and related series of violations. On June 22, 2023, Veolia Water Contract Operations USA submitted an answering certification agreeing to accept staff's offer of settlement and pay a penalty of $80,000. Additionally, in a letter submitted with acceptance of the settlement, Veolia Water Contract Operations also committed to implementing corrective actions to remedy causes of the incident, including the use of ground-penetrating radar technology to locate Hoboken water facilities during future markout requests. Staff is recommending that the Board approve the settlement and propose corrective actions.
Thank you, Frank. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved?
Second?
Thank you. Just want to make my own comment, reminding everyone of the importance of following the one-call procedures so that we can avoid future incidents like this happening. I know that was a big priority for President Fiordaliso, and just want to thank Frank and his team for all the work that they've been doing to address these issues. Yes, please.
Frank, if I could, that's the maximum penalty. How much would you estimate the loss was actually to the community, to the inconvenience to customers? Have we done anything like that?
I'd say be tremendous amount.
Yeah.
The impact on that community, the local hospital, the citizens, the residents that live there. I know, I want to thank our customer service and people that helped them there, but I have to say, the city did a great job responding to it. But hopefully with the ground penetrating radar, this doesn't happen again because the effects are many,
Devastating.
yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And where does that money go? That 80,000?
The 80,000 goes to the Treasury of State of New Jersey.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you. Madam Secretary?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gul-Sadovy?
Yes. Maureen Claire is going to join us for customer assistance.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This matter concerns a request from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for approval of the Universal Service Fund Program's administrative cost budget for fiscal year 2024. The DCA administers the USF program on the board's behalf, and this year has provided monthly credits on the electric and natural gas bills of approximately 220,000 New Jersey households. For fiscal year 2024, DCA is requesting $11,444,369, which is less than 5% of the current year's $268 million total program budget. Included in the budget request are DCA's costs for administering the program, as well as costs for DCA subgrantees, which process USF applications and provide outreach to the public at the local level. It should be noted that this is only a budget. Board staff will return to the board with an accounting of actual fiscal year 2024 expenditures for board approval. Board staff has thoroughly reviewed the budget and found it appropriate and necessary for administering the USF program. Therefore, staff recommends this fiscal year 2024 USF administrative cost budget be approved.
Thank you, Maureen. Motion, please.
So moved?
Second.
Questions or comments? Madam Secretary?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gul-Sadovy?
Yes. Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you.
We are now going to clean energy. And Rupa is going to start us off. Item 8A, which was part of executive session. Hi, Rupa.
Hello. Good afternoon, Madam President, Commissioners. This matter pertains to a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, between the BPU and the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, or DEP, that would allow BPU to engage with New Jersey Corporation of Advanced Technology, or NJCAP, to scale up geothermal technologies in the state. In the Buildings Decarbonization Startup Programs for Energy Efficiency Triennium 2, geothermal or ground source heat pump or GSHP technology is one of the technologies considered for clean heating and cooling systems and reducing energy usage and electricity demand on the electric grid. NJCAT is a nonprofit corporation established for the development and commercialization of innovative or emerging energy and environmental technologies through a performance partnership agreement with DEP. NJCAT work will include conducting research, providing technical documentation and educational curriculum, and serving in an advisory role to develop innovative approaches to advancing GSHP systems, including demonstration projects in New Jersey. The work described under the MOU is expected to commence in fall 2023. Staff recommends that the board approve the MOU and authorize President Gul-Sadovy to execute the MOU on BPU's behalf.
Thank you, Rupa.
So moved?
Thank you.
Second.
Questions, comments? Madam Secretary?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gul-Sadovy?
Yes. Thank you, Rupa. 8B, Kevin Nedza. I will continue in the president's tradition of asking you, Kevin, if you still work here.
I do, in fact, still work here, Madam
I
President.
can see that. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you. The Clean Energy Act of 2018 directed the board to require each electric and natural gas public utility to achieve annual reductions in electric and natural gas usage by their customers within their service territories. In 2020 and early 2021, board staff worked with these utilities to create energy efficiency programs for the 3-year period from July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2024, known as Triennium 1. On May 24th and July 26th, 2023, the board issued orders establishing the framework for the Triennium 2 period, which will run from July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2027. The board further directed each utility to file their proposals for their Triennium 2 programs on or before October 2nd, 2023. As all 7 filings must be analyzed by staff simultaneously, staff is requesting that the board release a request for response to the state's public institutions of higher education. This request for response would require the selected institution to provide analysis of the filings and support staff in the review of the filings, and to provide project management support to staff as needed. Staff requests and recommends that the board approve the release of the request for response to the state's public colleges and universities.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLune,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Recused.
President Gulsadovy.
Yes. All right, thanks, Kevin. Moving to Matt for 8C.
Good afternoon again, President, Commissioners. This matter involves the award of a contract for assistance with the design of the New Jersey Energy Storage Incentive Program, or NJSIP. On May 24th, 2023, the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities authorized the release of a request for quotation to hire a contractor to aid in the design of the NJSIP policies, development of the associated rules and regulations, and to coordinate with a contractor selected to administer the NJSIP, who will be selected in a subsequent RFQ. On July 28th, 2023, proposals were received from 2 firms in response to the RFQ. Board staff reviewed and scored each proposal. Staff recommends the board award the contract to the recommended vendor as discussed in executive session.
Thanks, Matt.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLune,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gulsadovy.
Yes. All right, thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Moving to 8D. Diane.
Good afternoon, President and Commissioners. This item relates to a subsection T application from Vineland Construction to have its VCC 3905 River Road LLC project included in the interim subsection T capacity block of the ADI program and certified as being located on a properly closed sanitary landfill pursuant to subsection T of the Solar Act of 2012. The applicant's proposed 5.19 megawatt project is to be located on 12 acres at the Vineland Construction Company landfill site in Pennsauken Township, Camden County, New Jersey. Staff reviewed the application and supplied a copy to NJDEP for their review. Staff received an advisory memo on the application where DEP determined that the Vineland Construction Company landfill does not constitute a properly closed sanitary landfill as defined in the Solar Act of 2012. Based upon the review of the application and the advisory memorandum provided by NJDEP, staff recommends that the board deny the applicant's 5.19 megawatt VCC 3905 River Road project as not being located on a properly closed sanitary landfill consistent with the Solar Act of 2012.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal DeLune,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Gulsadovy.
Yes. Thank you, Diane. For night number 8E, we have Laura, Tina. Hi, Laura.
Good afternoon, Madam President, Commissioners. This agenda item pertains to 18 petitions of multiple entities seeking extensions of time for registration within the Transition Incentive or TI program. Staff recommends the board address these petitions together because while they are at varying stages of development, all share a failure to satisfy the completion milestones of the TI program. Staff recommends the board deny petitioners' request to extend the deadlines for the projects with one exception. With respect to BPU docket number Q0221-00665, petitioner PowerFlex with the project at BJ's in Cape May, staff recommends that the board allow the TI program administrator to process the final as-built paperwork for the 250 kilowatt AC portion of the system that received conditional permission to operate from Atlantic City Electric Company and allow the petitioner to register the remaining capacity as a separate project in the administratively determined incentive or ADI program. Staff recommends that if petitioners fail to complete these projects by the deadlines, they be encouraged to withdraw their TI registration and submit a registration for the ADI program.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Laura, this is a very difficult place to put anybody in, either the developers or us, to make these decisions. And I know that you've taken your time and your whole staff has taken the time to make sure that we were as accommodating as possible and not flippant with any decisions. So I commend you all for threading the needle on this very accurately. I know it's not easy. We don't want to discourage anybody, but we need to maintain some standards. So well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Nice job. I know it's your first meeting. Madam Secretary?
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gosudola?
Yes. Thanks, Laura. And we have no items under miscellaneous for consideration, so that concludes our formal agenda. I just want to take a final moment to say thank you to my colleagues here and Commissioner Holden via phone, and to all of the staff at the BPU who have been incredibly supportive over the last couple of weeks. And I'm really honored and grateful for all of you. So thank you. And that's it.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Oh, sorry, forgot that. We need a motion. Motion, please. Yes, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thanks.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks. I already did it once. Get one gavel. Thanks.